Well, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau said they launched an investigation into the crash land of an aircraft belonging to Dana Air at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos on Tuesday morning. According to the NCAA, the aircraft was en route from Abuja to Lagos with 83 passengers and 6 crew members on board when the incident occurred. Upon landing at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, the Air Traffic Control Tower observed at C4 that the nose wheel had retracted, causing the nose of the aircraft to collapse. Subsequently, the plane veered off the runway and into a grassy area, after which passengers were safely disembarked with no injuries. The maintenance team has since grounded the aircraft. Further investigation is pending. The NCA says all necessary measures will be taken to prevent such occurrences in the future.
Let's bring in the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB, Captain Alex Badeh Jr. Thanks for joining us on Newsnight. Good to see you.
See you too, Cousin.
Yeah, well, just that it's quite troubling that this particular airline seems to have a history of mishaps and near mishaps and what have you. Is that where your investigations will start from? Asking questions as to regulatory failure that would allow this same airline to continue to have these situations?
Not necessarily. I mean,
right.
First of all, we will start to ascertain what happened with this incident today. Once that is done, we make our safety recommendations and we go deeper into looking if there are any regulatory lapses from the NCAA, who's the regulator. We will look into that, but so far we have no indication that that is the case. We've dispatched the GO team, a 4-member GO team that went there this morning. They retrieved the CVR, the cockpit voice recorder, and the flight data recorder from the airplane. It's on its way to Abuja as we speak. Tomorrow we'll download it in our flight safety lab here in Abuja and continue the investigation. We aim to have a preliminary report in about 30 days or under 30 days, in line with Annex 13 of the ICAO handbook.
Well, you know, the conversation is already out there for some experts. They think that what the NSIB and others should also try and include is to look at the BAC 111 aircraft flown by Dana. Some are saying that the world all over, good thing you're also a captain, that the BAC 111 are used specifically for cargoes, and many across the world have stopped using
BAC 111?
Yeah, BAC 111 to fly passengers.
But I'll have to correct that. That's a little misleading. This is not a BAC 111. This is actually a McDonnell Douglas 83 made by Boeing. So the BAC 111s, I don't even think there are many flying in the world. Right. Now, with the MD 83s, yes, they might be a little old, you know, but with anything, any good maintenance program, a good parts program, can keep these planes flying. I mean, just with, you know, they're modern marvels. I mean, they might have been built in the 80s. You know, this is a 1970s airplane, but it still flies in the U.S. and flies all over South America, carrying passengers. Of course, you know, I understand the need for, you know, investing in newer airplanes. But as you know, just being in Nigeria, it's hard for these. It's, you know, it's a real tough environment for the airlines too. I'm not excusing them, but it's a really hard environment for Nigerian airlines, access and financing to get modern airplanes at this time. But I know our honorable minister and the rest of the team have been working hard to provide, you know, access to said financing, and hopefully we see, you know, some action here in the next couple of years. But I must add, remember Arik Air not too long ago came in with brand new airplanes. You know, so it's not, you know, it's nothing alien, and it can be done. It's just, you know, more hard work and just, you know, opening up Nigeria to the world and letting them know that Nigeria is open for business and we're, you know, we're dependent. Well, we can be dependable creditors, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So let's stay with the your investigation. You've set the ball rolling on investigating this particular incident. What are the basic questions that you're going to be looking at or asking in coming to a conclusion as to whether it's human error or, nature or weather? Because in 2018, Dana had a similar issue where it actually blamed the pilot, for skidding off the runway. What would be the scope of your investigations?
We would go what happened, why it happened, and lessons learned. It's really a simple three-step process. Unfortunately, with most crashes, it ends up being pilot error, but it's always it's always a human factor to any incident. There's always a human factor somewhere. These planes are built, they're so robust, as long as you follow maintenance protocols and you follow the rules, really, like I said, they could fly forever, but there's always a human factor somewhere. Not saying this is a pilot error issue, but you will find that there is a human factor somewhere in this accident. So typically, once these investigations come out, most people just focus on that one human factor. But there are so many factors. It's a system issue. You need to build systems around these things to catch these little lapses here and there. With this, we don't know what it is so far, so I won't speculate. Once we download this FDR and the CVR, our 4 investigators have spoken to the pilots, and we'll bring them back for more interviews in the next couple of weeks, so we can produce a preliminary report while we could continue to go in depth with this incident for Dana.
Well, so far, I think the aviation industry, safety-wise, has been good, showing some form of success in the years till this moment. Now, specifically for the NSIB, which you had, it is just about aircraft when we talk about, because it is only when we have such incidences that we get to hear the NSIB. Perhaps there are other things you are also in charge.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, most people don't know, but the NSIB went multimodal in 2022. We used to be the AIB, the Accident Investigation Bureau.
Right.
And for that reason, most people still associate us with just aviation. And because we're domiciled under the Ministry of Aviation, as we've been there historically, most people don't see us as actually a multimodal agency. We're modeled after the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board in the USA. And most accident investigation bureaus around the world are all multimodal. So we're multimodal now. We do, by multimodal I mean we investigate air, maritime, rail, or any tracked vehicle, and road in Nigeria, as granted to us by the Legislation Act in 2022, the NSIB Establishment Act.
Did you just say maritime?
Yes, maritime as well.
So the case of the movie producers that just happened, we're still trying to wrap our fingers around that. Is that within the purview of the NSIB?
Yes, that is within the purview of the NSIB, and we did dispatch a team to the scene. We're still investigating, and we're collaborating with relevant stakeholders, the regulators, which for the waterways will be NIWA, the National Inland Waterways Agency. Of course, it's not without its own struggles. Now where mandates overlap, and there's a good reason why the NSIB is domiciled under the Ministry of Aviation. I think aviation has the strongest safety standards when it comes to transport. We're more rigid and more robust than most means of transportation, which is evidenced by the fact that the aviation is still the safest mode of travel.
Well, we keep hearing that, but when an incident happens and the fatalities are usually quite high. I mean, speaking of your role, looking at accidents or incidents, both maritime and road and what have you, do you provide any kind of support in terms of what the regulator should be looking at to ensure that they minimize level of incidents and
yes, we
improve
do.
on safety?
Yes, we do. So we make these safety recommendations and we make them available to the regulators. The regulators are the ones who do the surveillance, who go around ensuring compliance with these. We're just here, we don't pass judgment. Right. We're not here to say it's your fault, or we're not punitive. We just say this is what it is. Try to improve on this just to make the system better. So that's all we do. To
a large extent, from your findings so far, I mean, since you've been doing your work as NSIB, to what extent would you say the regulators and, of course, the operators abide by the safety rules?
Well, I mean, so far with our investigation, I would say on the aviation side, I know the regulators, they do push hard. Of course, the operators, some of them, unfortunately, still try to cut corners, but the regulator has gone hard on them. Captain Najim of the NCA has, he's read them the Riot Act, and I know he sanctioned a few operators a few weeks ago, which is the way forward, because, where there are no consequences, people keep taking shortcuts. So I know the NCA is on that, and should this issue with Dana, should it be found wanting, I'm sure the regulators again will handle that.
And before you go quickly, for how long are we likely to get a report out?
So like I said, the preliminary report should be out in 30 days.
30 days.
Okay. Under 30 days, and we should have this out fairly soon. And just before I go, I'd like to add as well, speaking of maritime incidents, just with the little data we have.
Great.
Last year, recorded from what we found, there were about 299 people died just in our waterways.
Wow.
Yeah, from little boat mishaps. So we'll be trying to do more sensitization and, engaging more stakeholders, the regulators, just to see how we can improve that. And this is just from data we have. We know it's quite a bit more because a lot of it happens in remote areas, and there's so many videos out there of people on boats and killing with life jackets and vests.
There's so much to talk about, but
yes, there is.
It will be nice to have you again sometime sooner than later. Captain Alex Badeh Jr., DG, Director General, Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.